Alright, people, it's Dave here coming to you from another episode of Dave's Deep Dives. Today is going to be a slightly special episode because I haven't actually done this before. Of course, I'm going to be providing my thoughts and reaction to Jake Paul's first round knockout win against AnEsonGib. But instead of me, pre-recording it and talking about it, writing all this analysis down, I'm actually going to be playing the video whilst I'm talking about it and kind of live reacting to it and kind of giving you an insight on, one, how I react to it and, my steps on how I analyse it, and two, what kind of things I'm looking out for, as well as my overall opinions on why I think, one, why I think Gib lost, and two, why the outcome came the way it is. But as soon as the bell goes, that right there, as soon as the bell goes, Gib comes running at him, trying to dominate the fight, trying to pressure Jake on the front foot. First thing you immediately notice is that he's very side on. He's doing a lot of he's moving up and down. He's changing his levels a lot. He's trying to make it hard to hit him. Which we see evidence of this within the first 15 seconds because Jake keeps trying to throw the hook. It's the correct shot to do when somebody's ducking, but he keeps missing him. And actually, Gib does very well in this first 15 seconds because he lands a right and then he lands a left. On the basis of that movement and trying to bait Jake into throwing. So this part of the fight, so he lands the right here and then he lands the left here and then he clinches up. He catches him both times. It was a good solid shot. Jake did one thing. Jake did do very well is he was consistently popping off that jab. Yes, he had a 6-inch reach advantage, but he was using that significant reach advantage to his advantage in terms of trying to keep Gib away from him. Ultimately, that didn't affect Gib because he, for this entire 2 minutes, he came forward the entire time. He was in his face the whole time. But that was ultimately part of his downfall. So yeah, he's trying to get inside Gib, and Jake's not having any of it, and he's clinching every single time. So there, anybody who's watched the fight already knows that Gib struggled with his balance. But he seemed to be very heel dominant the whole time. He seemed to be always leaning back. So he was trying to land here, and he actually ended up almost falling over there. He almost, I want to say maybe his legs kind of betrayed him. Maybe it was all that nervous energy and never performing in front of this crowd before. Sometimes that happens with boxers. They get kind of stage fright and that. I mean, I think everybody gets stage fright, but kind of unintentionally, unconsciously kind of bricking it, really. Jake's keeping that distance well. He's using that jab every time Gib wants to come forward. But at the same time, you can kind of see that Gib's forcing the issue. He's leading with his front foot and he's trying to push Gib into a corner, which is what he ends up doing here. Trying to close off the space, which is clearly the tactic they were trying to use Gib's intensity, Gib's energy to really cut off the space for Jake, really force him into a corner and trying to lay it on him. So yeah, he's trying to throw that jab out, trying to keep him at a distance. Bang, that was a good combination there from Jake. And again, you can tell that, yes, it's only been 48 seconds, but Jake's starting to read now. It's getting a bit predictable with Gib. Gib's kind of constantly ducking now. Yeah, there was nothing wrong with that. He doesn't catch him here. He just, again, it's just those legs kind of betray him a little bit, Gib. He misses with the hook here. And again, he doesn't catch him. But I think Jake sensed here that there was a lot of nervous energy from Gib, and his legs were kind of all over the place. So I think this is a round where he starts to close, and this is a round where he gets his first knockdown. I'm pretty sure he actually just blocked it. I don't think it was like a genuine hit from him. So yeah, trying to throw that 1-2. One thing that I would say is that Gib was constantly in a straight line, and I think this was the main factor of why he lost this fight. Is that he was just constantly right in front of Jake. When you're applying that pressure, it's very difficult not to be right in front of him. But at the same time, you can't stay straight in front of him because you're just going to get hit. So you gotta get inside. You gotta throw a couple of shots and then use your pivot and then get out of that situation. There, he gets caught there. Gib tries to throw to right, and Jake reads it pretty well. So Gib's got a tell here. He brings his left hand up before he even throws it, so he's expecting to counter right. I imagine this is something that Shane's taught Jake during camp. Because yes, but right there actually, he drops his arm, which is, I don't know why he's done that, but you can already see that Jake is ready to throw the left hook here already. Right here, he's starting to kind of pull out his shoulder a little bit, so he's trying to get that round hook technique. There, see, straight away, before Gib even remotely connects, Jake is throwing the hook. So this is something premeditated that Shane's definitely taught him to do. And he catches him on the top of the head. So yeah, that was the result of the knockdown. So obviously that punch didn't directly lead to it, but I think it definitely wobbled Gib a bit. The referee does well here, and then Jake tries to force the issue. He's landing a bit more consistently now. I think Gib's legs were a bit affected by that punch on the top of the head. Examples of it wasn't particularly hard, but getting punched in the right area, you don't have to punch people very hard. And remember, it is 10-ounce gloves. But Gib is still trying to force the issue. He's still this foot gap here is too big for my liking. I think Gib's got to get out of there right now. If I was Gib, I would either push forward this foot, trying to get my foot on the inside of Jake's foot, and try and land this right over the top, because Jake's guard is very, very low. He's definitely not employing the Philly shell technique, but for some reason he's really, well, he's being a counterpuncher. That's what he's trying to be. Whereas if you compare this to Gib's guard, Gib's wary of this left hook because it's already landed for him and he's got it protecting his chin. But right now, Gib's not really doing much of anything. He's just standing there and trying to get hit. And Jake senses this, and he starts to unload a bit. Gib gets back a bit. That one there, I don't think that was a knockdown personally. Jake got a bit lucky there, because Gib comes forward, and if I implied this to basketball terms, well, actually no. Before we even implied that, look, he's on the side of his feet. He's losing his balance already. Jake does catch him with a little left, but it's actually blocked, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So kind of Gib's momentum was already down. But because Jake punched him, it counted as a knockdown. But it's 1 minute 45 seconds in, and you can tell that Gib's relentless pressure is working, because he's sat in the corner here breathing heavily. Yeah, I know he's not even got an insane amount of output. Gib looks completely fine, even though he's been knocked down twice. He looks completely fine, whereas Jake's nose is bloody already. That's one thing. If I was KSI, I'd be watching this and I'd be grinning a little bit, because Jake keeps his guard very low. He's definitely a counter puncher, but he doesn't react defensively at all. And yeah, he's very clearly quite easy to damage. So the referee gives him time. He tells there was a 3 knockdown rule in this fight, which I didn't know until this morning when I looked over it again. But that's why the referee stops it so early. So Jake senses that this is the end, and he comes running out, trying to meet Gib. Gib was trying to dominate the ring, trying to push Jake around, trying to be in the middle at all times. Jake senses that he only needs one more knockdown to win, and he's gambling here. Jake is rightfully gambling that he can get a knockdown before he gets caught majorly by Gib. It's a bit risky, but eventually it pays off. So right here, runs out. You see that quite a lot with Tyson Fury, but before a punch is even thrown, look at the difference in stances. Jake is very, very, it's a very, very traditional boxing stance. One foot in front of the other. I would say that his guard is quite horrendous. Yes, he's protecting the front of his chin, but look at all this gap here on both sides. The middle of his face, his temple, the top of his head is wide open. Whereas we compare it to Gib. Gib is completely side on with Jake. I think this is where Gib's legs definitely get the best of him here. This was horrendous. Jake trying to mix it up, trying to work the body, he's trying to land that left hook the whole time. Gib's that okay, yeah, he's starting to land here. That jab, we've seen it coming with both Paul brothers, that they've got a kind of a stiff, nasty jab, and it was starting to be more effective for Jake towards the end of this fight. Bang, bang, and again. Part of the reason why this was more effective is because Gib could sense that he has to, he has to get a knockdown of his own if he has any chance in this fight. Which wasn't the case. I definitely think he could have rode out this round, regrouped and tried in round 2. But it's on a big stage. It's very easy to say that when you're sitting in a chair compared to when you're in a ring. So Jake's trying to land a big shot here. Gib's still bringing that pressure. He's still trying to avoid it by coming on the inside. But that jab is consistently landing home, and with those 10-ounce gloves, as Jake actually misses there with that right hand, I'm pretty sure. But with the 10-ounce gloves, there's a clear difference in how much the punches affect. So that does miss, but that one lands there. He was faking throwing the left and then coming home with a straight right. That's a very, very common punching combination. But right there, Gib tries to slip that right and then come over with his hook, but he's actually slightly too late for that. And one thing Jake does very well is he changes his height, changes his position, so that instead of it landing square on the chin, it actually lands on his shoulder. And because Gib's already down there, he's already quite low. Jake doesn't need to change the height at which he's throwing his punches. So this is a pretty much slap on the forehead, which kind of backed his neck up a little bit as well. Bang, there, and I think he was done there, honestly. The left hand landed and he tried to clinch here. Jake's having none of it. Senses blood, quite clinical. Dang, yeah, that right here. You can tell here that Gib's legs are wobbling. Gib's done here. Though that 2 here, and then this right lands. This is quite a vicious right, actually. Here, bang, done. And because his knees touch the floor, it counts as a knockdown. Gib wasn't going without fight, but at the end, you see Logan reacting pretty heavily. But at the end of the day, there was a clear gulf in class between the two. Jake's obviously improved a lot. That finish actually was quite impressive. It's quite a clinical finish. The 2 kind of downward right crosses there. He showed a definite increase in boxing IQ. He dealt with Gib's relentless pressure kind of very well. Obviously, Gib didn't help himself. I'm not sure how much he could have, how much of his legs he could control. Sometimes you just get that where the nervous energy just gets the best of you, and you're like Bambi before you even get a punch thrown at you. So there was that. Obviously, Gib's done the whole of the UK scene proud. He's done everybody proud. He's made a massive paycheck. He probably go back to making his FIFA packs. But for Jake, the Jake Paul KSI fight definitely is going on. I don't know. I think Jake's definitely a more accurate, harder puncher than Logan from what I've seen. But I think it's impossible to predict a fight that one might not even happen. Alright, so that's going to be the end of the video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy that. You know, just a little insight into how I analyze how these different fights go. There's going to be a Super Bowl. Well, actually, no, there's already a Super Bowl preview video out by the time I upload this. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot more content coming up on this channel. Please like the video. Comment down below what you like, what you didn't like. Different, you know, what was your interpretation of it, and also, you know, what you think of these with the Jake Paul KSI fight that's going to be coming up. But apart from that, yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit.